Are you ready for another round of riddles? Then prepare your brains, and we start right away.
Yeah.
Take a look at the photos of these two people that were shot during Halloween. One of them is a real ghost. But who? The person on the left some footprints on the ground, so it's not the real ghost. The ghost is the person on the right. Okay, so now we found a real ghost, but there are other creatures ahead too. Here's a shot of two best friends, but one of the girls is secretly a witch. Can you tell which one of them? It's this girl. Can you see a magic wand hidden in her high boots? Take a look at the photos these two famous bloggers have recently posted. Which one of them is a vampire? It's the blogger on the right. Look, the lamp is turned on, but she doesn't cast a shadow. Okay, how about solving a couple of detective cases now? Georgia Wright, a rich young lady, was poisoned, and her best friend called the police for an investigation. Detective Column started by walking around the house, exploring the territory. There was a big garden, 4 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, a living room, a kitchen, a dining room, a library, and a movie room in the house. Georgia was found in her bedroom. The suspects were all people in the house. Madeline, her best friend, said, "I found her right here in the bedroom." James, Georgia's cousin, who just came to visit, said, "I spent all day in the game room playing video games. I don't know anything about it." Mrs. Smith, the cook, said, "My food is of the best quality, and I love my job. I'd never do anything bad to Miss Wright." Who should the detective arrest? The detective should arrest James. There is no game room in the house, so the guy lied. Another woman got poisoned, but this time at a party. Violet fell unconscious after making a couple of sips of her soda. All of the other people drinking the same soda were fine, which meant that someone added something to her drink in particular. The police arrived at the party 10 minutes after the accident. Ava said, "This is terrible." She went to get a drink, and I stayed dancing upstairs. Nate said, "I didn't see anything. I haven't been in the room with food and drinks for over an hour when I got this one." Elias said, "I found her lying here on her own. Got so scared, and there was no one around." Who should be arrested? Nate. If he got his drink over an hour earlier, why didn't the ice in his drink melt? He must have been there at the same time as Violet, but he's lying about it. Detective Column was on the case to find a missing girl, Mia. She disappeared from her dormitory supposedly in the middle of the night. Adam, her best friend, said, "She wasn't in class and didn't respond to my texts. I came to check on her, and she wasn't here either." Gina, a neighbor, said, "I saw her here yesterday night. She seemed fine." Dana, Mia's sister, said, "I had no idea she was missing until you called me. Please keep me updated." The detective went to inspect the room and arrested one of those people. Whom? Look at this calendar on Mia's wall. There are numbers written on it: 4, 12, 8, and 3. It could be a message. We need to decode it, and the calendar is a hint. Each number signifies a month: 4 for April, 12 for December, 8 for August, and 3 for March. The first letters of each month give us the name of the kidnapper, Adam, her best friend. Sam is a blind man, and he's getting ready to go out on a date. He has a box with 4 socks in it, and they're either black or gray. Sam takes out 2 socks. If the probability of them being 2 gray socks is 1/2, what's the probability of them being 2 black socks? If there are 2 socks of each color, then the probability of having 2 gray socks is equal to the probability of picking out 2 black socks, and it's 1/4 each. The probability of picking out 1 gray and 1 black sock is 1/2, but here the probability to pick out 2 gray socks is 1/2, which means that there are 3 gray socks and 1 black. So the probability of getting 2 black socks is 0. On a gloomy day, as soon as it started raining, a police officer received a call. A woman complained that someone just bumped into her car and drove away. They arrived, and together with the woman, they found a person not too far away who fit the vague description of a red car. All she could remember: "I've just been trying to fix the car. I suddenly broke down an hour ago and I'm running late for a meeting." Should the officer believe him? The rain started just recently. If the man had been fixing the car for over an hour, the ground under the car would be dry, but it's wet, which means that he is lying. And this is suspicious. Okay, let's take a little break from thinking too hard and train our eyes a little bit. Ashley is going on a month-long vacation. She's visiting her friend in Denmark, but she has trouble finding some things she needs. Can you help her? I'll be showing you the picture of her rooms and the items she needs. You just have to find them in the picture. Okay, let's start with her bedroom. Can you see those items there? Here's her scarf. The gloves are right there, and this is the backpack. Great job! Now the living room. She needs her headphones, a passport, and her cell phone. Here they are. Did you find them all? Finally, the bathroom. She needs this exact lipstick, a hairbrush, and sunscreen. Do you see them in the picture? The brush, the sunscreen, and this is the lipstick right here. Thank you. One sunny day, an insurance agency received a call from their client, Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith has his property and belongings insured. He reported that someone broke into his house and stole his savings and the collection of expensive watches. The company's caseworker was sent to investigate the situation. Look, the house was a mess. Still, the caseworker concluded that Mr. Smith staged it. Why? Look at the plates, cups, and bottles on the floor. All of it is pretty fragile, but none is broken. The burglar wouldn't care about keeping things safe, but Mr. Smith would, so he carefully put it all down on the ground when staging the robbery. Do you want more crazy stories from the insurance agency? This couple, Dean and Jean, have their lives insured. They came to the agency saying that a big icicle fell on Jean's head and it gave her a concussion. A caseworker came to the house to listen to the whole story. Jean was sitting right there, painting the wall of the house. The icicle fell from the roof right on top of her. Why didn't the caseworker believe them? Icicles are hanging from the roof. That's true, but Dean said that Jean was painting the wall of the house at the time of the accident. If that's true, then the icicle wouldn't be able to hit her, since Jean wouldn't have the roof completely over her. Another day, another case. The day after a storm, a man called his insurance company and told them that his car was hit by a tree that fell on it because of the wind. So, he wanted the money to repair the car or fully replace it. A caseworker came to investigate the case and concluded that, once again, it was a fraud. Why did she make this decision? The tree that was supposedly broken by the wind is perfectly cut.
That's it for today. So hey, if you pacified your curiosity, then give the video a like and share it with your friends. Or if you want more, just click on these videos and stay on the bright side.
In a city's museum, an expensive golden egg covered in diamonds went missing. The museum workers noticed it in the morning and, of course, they immediately reported the theft to the police. The city's best detective started investigating the case. She carefully looked through the footage and identified 3 main suspects. Then she saw a handprint on the glass the egg was placed behind. Take a look at these handprints and at the suspect's hands. Who is guilty? It's this person right here. Look, the prints of the fingers aren't full because something came in the way. This person is wearing rings right there, so it's their print. In a little town, someone stole an expensive silver collar for a cat, covered in diamonds and precious gems. The shop's owner called the police, and the investigation started. There were 3 suspects. Mr. Johnson said, "I came to look for earrings for my daughter's birthday. We don't have any pets." Mrs. Martin said, "I got a bracelet for myself. I didn't steal anything." Mrs. Tanner said, "I have no idea what you're talking about." The thief is Mr. Johnson. There are cat footprints in his garden, so the family obviously has a pet. There was a robber in the city, and no one could catch him for several months. After another incident, the police saw the robber entering a hospital. They walked in and ran into 2 doctors. Which one of them is fake and is actually the robber? It's this guy, the one who's wearing headphones instead of the stethoscope. Mrs. Stevens went on a 3-month vacation, but had her workers coming regularly to maintain the house. When she returned, she realized that one of the workers was skipping quite a bit of work once in a while, going on an unplanned vacation themselves. Who was it? A gardener who takes care of the outside garden, a housekeeper who takes care of everything in the house, or a painter who is coming to paint her house. It's the housekeeper. Look, the houseplants dried out. Seems like he skipped a couple of weeks of work and probably only cleaned the house right before Mrs. Stevens returned. Do you think you can figure out who the bride of this man is? It's this woman right here. Look, she has the same tattoo as this guy. A small city's police got a message that monsters silently flooded the town and now live among humans. It's not a problem, but the police decided to identify them all to keep an eye on them. Can you help the police identify in which houses the monsters live? Here's the first task. You see 2 houses and a vampire lives in one of them. Which one? It must be this house, the dark one where the blinds are closed on all the windows. Vampires don't like sunlight. Okay, the next task is to find the house of a mummy. Here are 2 possible options. Which house does the mummy live in? This one. Look, there are bandages around the house. The next creature whose residence we need to identify is a gnome. Take a look inside 2 houses. Can you tell where the gnome lives? Probably in this house. All furniture is smaller and placed way lower than in the other house, so it must be the residence of someone small, like a gnome. Now, we need to find the house of a centaur. Take a close look at both houses. Can you identify the one? This one right here. See, there are horse prints on the pathways to the house. The last one. A real witch lives in one of these houses. Can you tell where you're most likely to be bewitched? Did you notice this cute black cat? That's a famous witch sidekick, so my bet is on this house. On a cold January night, Delaney was found unconscious in the cloakroom when her best friend Jane came looking for her. She was at a house party with a bunch of college students. The police interrogated several students, asking where they were around the time of the accident. Allison said, "I was upstairs all the time, dancing with my friends." Liam said, "I went to a kiosk to pick up some candy for my girlfriend. There were only drinks and chips." Oliver said, "I was talking to a girl. She seems to like me." Who should have been taken to the police station? Liam. It's a cold night, and he would need a jacket to go to a kiosk. And if he needed a jacket, he would go into the cloakroom to get it, and would have found Delaney instead of Jane. So either he lied or walked past an unconscious girl. Ronan Collins, a successful businessman, went missing. His family reported it to the police. The main suspect was Ronan's business partner, Jennifer. She had been out of the city, but as soon as she returned, the police knocked on her door and asked if she knew something about Ronan's disappearance 2 weeks prior. "I just returned from my month-long trip to the Amazon rainforest an hour ago. I haven't heard anything about it." The detective didn't believe her right away and took her to the station for further investigation. Why? From the photos, we can clearly see that Jennifer dyes her hair. She says that she just returned from her trip, which was a whole month long. But her hair is perfectly dyed. Some roots would grow out, so she's lying at least about something. Esme was having a walk in a forest and got lost. But she found the house of a witch, walked in, petted her black cat, and asked the witch to take her home. The witch was busy operating on a frog, a rat, and a crow. She was using magical healing gloves, but she only had 2 pairs, so she needed Esme's help to figure it out, and then she'd take her home. How can she operate on all 3 animals with the 2 pairs of magical gloves, but remain sanitary? The witch should operate on the frog wearing the first pair of gloves over the second one. Then, she should operate on the rat using just the second pair. Finally, she should operate on the crow wearing the first gloves inside out, worn over the second glove. Detective Callum had to travel to a small neighboring city where dogs were being kidnapped every night, right out of the house. There were already 4 of them missing, and all of them were living on the same street. Mila was kidnapped first, then Karma the next night. After that, it was Jake, and then Mr. Sniffer. There were just 3 dogs left that lived on the street. Can you figure out which dog is going to be the next target? Look carefully at the dogs that were kidnapped, or actually at their collars. The first dog that was kidnapped has a red collar. Karma has an orange collar. Then Jake was wearing a yellow one, and Mr. Sniffers owned a green one. Seems like they're being kidnapped in order of rainbow colors. So, the next target should be this dog, the one wearing the blue collar. Mason called the police, reporting that his metal safe box with his savings was stolen. He walked into his bedroom right in time to spot the robber throwing the safe out of the window and disappearing in the window right after. So, Mason wanted the robber caught or his insurance to pay him the money he had lost. The detective came to investigate. "Did you touch anything in the room after the incident?" he asked. "No, I came straight to you." "Then there was no robber," the detective concluded. "Why?" The robber couldn't go out of the window without stepping on the bed that was standing right by the window. But the bed is perfectly made. How is it possible if Mason didn't touch it?
That's it for today. So hey, if you pacified your curiosity, then give the video a like and share it with your friends. Or if you want more, just click on these videos and stay on the bright side.
Noah reported to the police that someone had stolen his red motorbike the previous night, right out of his garage. The police started to search for it and tracked 3 main suspects. Take a look at them. Which one of them stole Noah's motorbike? It's this guy on the right. Look closely. His motorbike is painted, but the paint is a bit dripped, and you can spot the old red color. He must have stolen it and painted it in a different color to not attract any attention, but you caught him. Great job! Now your task will be able to decide which person of the two is in the wrong. Ready? Here's the first one. Belle and Emma are both running late for school, so they're taking a shortcut. Belle decided to walk through the woods, and Emma chose to cross a frozen lake. Who is in danger? Emma, look, there are cracks on the ice surface of the lake. Nicole and Diana are spending time with their families. Nicole is playing board games with her dad, and Diana is watching a movie with her sister. Which one of them is doing something wrong? Nicole. She forgot about the food that she was cooking in the oven, and now it's burning. Pamela is getting ready for a business meeting at 12 o'clock. William is driving to pick up his mother from the airport. Her plane arrives in half an hour. Who missed something? Pamela. She must have confused the time. The meeting was at 12 o'clock, but it's already 12:30. It's early morning on the first day of school after the spring break. Ren and Caden are driving their daughters to school. Who is not being smart? Caden. His daughter isn't even in the car. Sophie and Ruby were having a picnic outside when it got dark. They packed their things and took off to go home and watch a movie. Who is wrong? Ruby. She left her bag on the grass. Look, her name is written on the badge. Ava and Maeve went camping in the forest. Suddenly, they noticed a moose moving towards them. Who's in greater danger? Ava for sure. She's wearing heels. Who wears heels on a forest walk? So she will run slower. Tommy went to the police and reported that he had been robbed on the street, right on the way to the bank. Here's what he said. "I was going to the bank to pay back the rest of my credit. In the park, about halfway between my house and the bank, someone approached me from the back and hit me on the head. I think I was unconscious for a while. When I came back to my senses, the money was gone. I remember that the person was wearing a black hoodie and had blonde hair, but I can't say more." The detective didn't believe him. Why? Tommy said that the robber had approached him from the back and hit him, and then he had fallen unconscious. Still, he managed to give some specific details about the robber's appearance. But if it had really happened, he wouldn't have been able to see him and remember the details. Several girls went missing in a small town. The police had been looking for them for many months but couldn't find any traces. One day, they finally managed to follow the kidnapper and found the place where the girls were kept hostage. When they entered the place, there were just 3 girls. They all said that they had been locked in a small room and had never left it. The detective knew that one of them must have been the kidnapper. The first girl said that her name was Annika and that she had spent the last year there. The second girl, Amelia, said that she'd spent about half a year there. The third girl said that her name was Flora and that she'd spent about 9 months at that place. Can you guess who's lying? Amelia is lying. Look, her hair is definitely freshly cut. The other girl's hair is a mess. It doesn't look like there's a hair studio down there, so she went out, unlike the other 2. Let's test how sharp your eyes are. I will show you different objects, and your task is to find the correct shadow. Wanna try? Let's go. Here's the first one. Can you find the right shadow of this plant? Yes, it's right here. Great job. So here's another one for you. Pay attention. Look, here it is. Now let's make it harder. Can you find the right shadows here? It's this one. Now look at the pictures I'll show you and try to find the odd one out. Yep, it's right here. Here's another one for you. Do you see it? Look, here it is. Level up. Here are some animals. All of them have a duplicate but one. Which one is a singleton? It's this one. A long time ago in what is now Sweden, a princess was kidnapped. The kidnappers locked her in a small room on one little island surrounded by a huge lake. Even if she managed to get out of the room, she wouldn't be able to cross it. So she was safely hidden there. And only once a month, someone would bring her food. There was nothing on the island, and she couldn't build anything to swim. Still, after half a year of being held hostage, she escaped and returned back home safely. How did she manage to do it? It happened where Sweden is now, so it was up north. It's cold there in the winter, and the water freezes. When the winter came and the lake turned to ice, the princess was able to cross it. While Mr. York, a rich gentleman, was out on his 3-month vacation, his mansion was robbed. The security was notified and the detective started the investigation. There were 3 people caught on the security camera. Hudson, the owner's old friend, said that he'd come to collect the post. Leo, the cleaning man, said that he had come 3 days ago to clean the house. Maverick, the gardener, said that he had come every week to take care of the garden and the houseplants. All of them denied stealing anything. Who's the robber? It's the gardener. If he was taking such good care of the plants, why does the garden look like a mess and the plants in the house are all dried out? For English class, the students were supposed to read a classic English book. The teacher said that there would be no test, just a discussion. But he wanted them to take it seriously. 1 month later in class, he asked who had read the book. Only 3 students raised their hands. Still, the teacher knew that one of them was lying. Who didn't read the book? It's this student. The copies of the other 2 students' books are definitely used. Look, their spines are bent. But this student's book looks absolutely new and perfect. In the morning, a big sum of money in the office went missing from the accountant's bureau. 3 people were in the office at the time. Haley, the accountant, said that she'd left for several minutes to go to the bathroom. Eric, the software manager, said that he'd been busy with his work, but even if he wanted, he couldn't possibly have done it because the key hadn't even been there. Joseph, the cleaning man, said that he'd been cleaning the 2nd floor at the time. Can you tell who's lying? It's Eric. Why was he so confident that the key wasn't there? He knew it because he saw it, and probably he had a duplicate key to open it. Now I'll show you some photos, and your task will be to guess what's wrong with them. Let's begin. Here's the first one for you. Look, there's a lot of snow, so it's obviously winter, but the leaves on the trees are green. That's a mismatch. Can you tell what's wrong here? There's a person in outer space, but he's not wearing any spacesuit helmet. Impossible. What about this picture? Do you see something odd? Look, this one is definitely a cat. I don't think it belongs there underwater. Look closely. Do you see a mismatch here? It's obviously night. It's dark outside, but the clock shows that it's 1:30 p.m. It can't be. What do you think about this photo? Anything weird? Pay attention to how this guy right here is dressed. Shorts and a t-shirt are definitely a bit too light for this weather. It's either a mistake or he's crazy. Let's proceed. What's wrong here? The cow right here is too small. It's the size of a chicken, and also the chicken is too big, I think. The police finally tracked a house from where someone was doing illegal online activities. The next day, they broke in, but there was no one there, and the house looked abandoned. Dirty, dusty, with broken windows. They decided it was a mistake. What do you think? Does anyone ever come here? Look at this. There's a little bouquet of flowers. It's fresh. If the place had been abandoned, it would have already dried out a long time ago. They definitely should keep watching the house.
Holly went to the supermarket to buy a watermelon. She found these 4 watermelons, but only one of them is edible. Can you guess which one? The first watermelon is a hologram. See those flashing pixels? The tail of the second watermelon is a green snake, probably not the safest choice. And the fourth watermelon has little cracks. So, Holly should choose the third watermelon. One dark, cold night, Harry and Pam were chilling together in their country house. Harry was watching a movie while his wife Pam enjoyed her favorite mystery book. Suddenly, all electricity went out. Harry decided to go to bed, but Pam decided to finish the book. There was no artificial light around, but this fact didn't stop Pam. How is that possible? Pam was listening to an audiobook on her phone. It's big on Saturday and Sunday. It's small on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. It's absent on Monday and Friday. What are we talking about? It's the letter S. Bella and Ken took a flight to Europe to celebrate their honeymoon. It took them 2.5 hours to reach the destination. After spending 2 weeks together, they flew back home. However, it took 150 minutes this time, even though the plane flew at the same speed. Can you guess why? Turns out that 2.5 hours are exactly 150 minutes. Karen went camping in a jungle with her 3 best friends. They had a wonderful dinner and went to sleep. In the morning, Karen woke up first and found out that someone had eaten all the food from the bag. She questioned her friends. Josh said, "I was very tired and fell asleep as soon as my head touched the pillow. I don't know what happened." Leah said, "I left the tent in the middle of the night to go to the toilet. The food was in the bag near the tree where we left it." Wendy said, "I left the tent at night and spent some time stargazing. I ate just 1 chocolate, I swear." Who ate the food? It was the monkey who was hiding in the tree. See those footprints around the bag? They are definitely not human. Gerald is a college dean. Somebody stole his car this morning. Soon the police found it across the street. The thief hit a pole and escaped. The police interviewed 3 suspects. Holly said, "I was busy having classes all morning. Then I went for a walk with my friends." Brian said, "I was checking the test papers." Rob said, "I skipped classes and spent the day at my girlfriend's studio." Can you guess who stole the car? It was Holly. Take a closer look inside the car. She lost one of her earrings. The combined age of Jenny and Jasmine is 49 years old. Jenny is twice as old as Jasmine was when Jenny was as old as Jasmine is now. How old are the sisters? Jenny is 28 and Jasmine is 21. Lisa likes grapes but not potatoes. She likes squash but not lettuce. Also, she likes peas but not onions. Following the same rule, will she like pumpkins or apples? Pumpkins, because Lisa only prefers things that grow on vines. Which of the following words don't belong to this group and why? Courts. All the other words are anagrams of each other. 2 people participated in a contest. They had to hold something. Finally, the jury announced the winner. It was a person with their hands and feet tied. How can this be possible? It's all simple. The contestants had to hold their breath, and the tied person managed to hold it the longest. Becky is thinking about a 7-letter word that we read very often. Letters 5, 6, and 7 grow every year. Letters 3 and 4 are the same. Letters 3, 2, and 5 cover over 70% of the world. What word is Becky thinking of? The correct answer is message. Our age grows every year, and the C covers over 70% of the planet. Amy is looking at Nick, and Nick is looking at Mia. Amy is married, and Mia is not. Is a married person looking at the unmarried person? Will you go with a yes or a no? Or is this information insufficient? The correct answer is yes. 2 combinations are possible here. If Nick is married, Mia, who is unmarried, is looking at him, who is married. If Nick is unmarried, we still have Amy, who's married. In this case, she's looking at Nick, who is single, which meets the requirements too. 5 friends were eating apples. Amy finished before Bob, but after Kat. Dan finished before Eve, but after Bob. Can you figure out the exact order in which they finished the apples? Kat, Amy, Bob, Dan, and Eve. Eric's job is to guard a supermarket parking lot. One day, he was walking around the area as usual and noticed that someone had parked the car in the middle of the driveway. He questioned 4 women. "Ladies, who is the owner of this car?" All 4 women replied, "It's not my car." Eric took a closer look at the vehicle and figured out its owner right away. Can you guess which of these women is the owner of the car? It's the First Lady. She's the only person who's not wearing a bag. Her bag is in the car. Peter came home in the evening and found his car wrecked. His 3 roommates were there. Peter decided to find out who was guilty, so he questioned them. Josh replied, "I didn't touch your car. I was walking the dog." Mike said, "That wasn't me. I was playing football with my friend." And Will said, "Nothing special happened today. I was just hanging out with our neighbors." Can you spot the liar? It's Will. He said he'd visited the neighbors, but nobody lives in this abandoned house. Plus, his cheek looks like he was in a crash. Sophie was sleeping. Suddenly, a robber broke into her apartment. He locked Sophie in the bathroom and asked her to stay quiet. Then, the robber began to collect cash and jewelry around the apartment. Suddenly, the phone started ringing. The robber told Sophie to pick up and talk without giving away the situation. Sophie picked up the phone. It was her husband. She said, "Oh, hi, darling. Is it an emergency, darling? Give me a call when you land. I'll cook your favorite meal that will help you relax after your business trip." Then she hung up. 10 minutes later, the police arrived at Sophie's house and caught the robber. Can you guess how the police learned about the robbery? Sophie played with the mute buttons. She pressed mute on specific parts of her conversation to make her husband only hear emergency, call, and help. And he called the police right away. Rick woke up in a weird basement and saw 3 doors. He has only one chance to escape. If he enters one of the doors, he won't be able to use them again. The first door leads to a room with high-voltage wires hanging above the wet floor. Behind the second door, there's a room filled with water and piranhas swimming in it. The third door leads to a space where flesh-melting acid rain is falling from the ceiling. Which door is more or less safe to enter? Rick should choose the first door. He'll be okay if he won't let his body come in contact with the wires and the wet floor at the same time. Jerry called his wife Robin and told her that he would be home by 7 o'clock. They didn't plan anything special for that evening, but when he arrived at 2 minutes past 7, Robin was furious. Why was she so angry? Any ideas? She thought her husband would come home after work by 7 p.m., but he appeared by 7:02 a.m. the next morning. When the day after tomorrow is yesterday, today will be as far from Wednesday as today was from Wednesday when the day before yesterday was tomorrow. What is the day after this day? Can you guess? It's Thursday. Harry and Barry are 2 magicians performing this evening in 2 nightclubs on the same street. but one of them is fake. Can you guess who? It's Barry. Take a closer look under the magician's tuxedo. On the right, you can see a restaurant employee badge with his name on it. He must be a waiter who came instead of the real magician. A monkey, a squirrel, and a bird are racing to the top of a coconut tree. Who will get the banana first, the monkey, the squirrel, or the bird? None of them, because bananas don't grow on coconut trees. Bonnie is cooking dinner. She has 3 stoves, a gas stove, a wood stove, and a coal stove, but only one match. What should she light first of all? The match! You are a bus driver. 9 people get on the bus, and 3 people get off. Then 2 more people get on, and another 1 gets off. Finally, 4 more people get on, and 2 get off again. How old is the bus driver? Whatever your age is, remember the question? You're the driver. That's it for today. So hey, if you pacified your curiosity, then give the video a like and share it with your friends. Or if you want more, just click on these videos and stay on the bright side.